Hello everyone at Our Pagan Opinions. This is Kara covering Monday. It's an awesome evening here. It's just raining and raining. It's been raining for the past 12 hours and going to be for the next 4 days. It's awesome. Okay, the topic this week is on abortion. Heavy one. So I'm going to start off by saying that I don't think that being Christian or Wiccan or any other religion determines whether you are pro-life or pro-choice. I don't think that because you are Christian, it automatically means that you're pro-life, or vice versa. I think that anybody, no matter their spiritual philosophy or religious background, has a propensity to be pro-choice or pro-life. And I just wanted to say that because it came to mind right off the bat. My thoughts on abortion have changed. They've changed over the years. When I was younger, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was definitely very, very pro-choice, very pro-choice, just like it doesn't matter, it's the woman's choice, period, and she should have that choice, no matter the circumstance, right? As I've matured, I have lived more life. The topic of sex becomes a more regular scenario that you have to deal with as a mature adult. And, surrounding myself with communities of people. Within those communities, I came across people who had to face the consequences of getting pregnant when they didn't want to, or people who had decided to have abortions and all the reasons behind them. I started to lose my appreciation for ultimate pro-choice. And I started to lose respect for people who had abortions as an opt-out. So I'm still pro-choice. I still think that that choice should be on the table. I don't think that should ever go away. I don't think that politicians and government or religious institutions should have any say over whether a woman should or shouldn't or can or can't get an abortion. I absolutely stand strong on that. I think that it is definitely always ultimately the woman's choice or the couple's choice, but if the couple isn't the scenario, then the woman. That must never be taken away from a woman. But what I don't agree with anymore is, as I said, the opt-out option of, oops, I got pregnant, so I'm going to have an abortion. Oops, I don't want this. Oops, because I didn't want to wear a condom or have my guy wear a condom because I didn't want him to not like me, or we forgot, or even in the instance that it broke, or what have you. I think that more personal responsibility needs to be accounted for. I think that we have to start going into intercourse with male-female intercourse with the understanding, the full understanding and full responsibility of that action, that pregnancy is a possibility. No matter how many precautions you take, there's always the chance that a baby could come from it. And from that decision, you should be taking responsibility for the fact that life can come from this decision, and I don't think that abortion should be the option after that. Now, of course, there's the options of rape, or maybe a woman's in an awful situation where, the child might be born into sexual abuse or physical abuse, and the woman can't get out of the situation at the time, or there's always an exception to the rule in these circumstances. But even then, there are many cases where, the baby can be put up for adoption. The baby doesn't have to stay. I'm going to touch on how this kind of affects how this opinion is affected by my spiritual beliefs, spiritual thoughts, spiritual feelings. In that, and then I'll get back to responsibility and stuff, but as somebody who reveres nature and the natural way very sacred. The natural order of things, the natural law. Abortion doesn't necessarily fit with that, because I don't think there is any species that I'm aware of, and if I'm wrong, please correct me if there is, but in nature, I don't think any species aborts. I think we are the only ones. And I mean, there are species that eat their young after they have them. There are species that abandon their young if they're too immature or, for whatever reason. But I don't think any other species other than human aborts, because I don't think that it's natural at all. At all. And I think that, and also I want to point out that anybody who has an abortion, I would be hard pressed to think that they come out of it sane. Abortion does something to a woman and to her spirit and to her psyche and to her physiology that cannot be denied. It can be suppressed, but I don't think that a woman ever sits right with herself fully after having an abortion. I think it affects you on many, many levels. So, going back to the responsibility, I was talking to my partner about this, and he said something that struck me. He's like, yeah, I'm pro-choice. I'm choose to not get pregnant in the beginning, if you are outside of the exceptions of rape and horrible circumstances. Choose to take more responsibility. There is so much sex you can have that doesn't involve penis in the vagina. So much, and that's where I think that we as a people, as a population in this world, must start encouraging and educating and empowering women, young girls, to be responsible for their decisions. That abortion is not an answer. It's not an easy way out. You can choose not to get pregnant. And also, going back to this, I'm ping-ponging back and forth a little bit, pardon me. But going back to, my spiritual mindset, I think that if someone has taken all the precautions in the world to not have a child, they've used a condom, they used a diaphragm, they used the creams, they have a little injection, they've done all of these weird birth control methods, and yet you still got pregnant, doesn't that say something? Doesn't that say somehow that is meant to happen? And then we have people who are like, well, I'm afraid, or I'm not able to take care of this baby. I don't know if I can, or I'm scared, or I'm not ready. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club of 85 to 90% of the people who actually have children who aren't ready, don't feel like they're ready, or are scared. Even people who want children are scared and don't feel like they're necessarily ready once they get pregnant. It's always an oh my God. But you have almost a year to get your life in order and prepare. That's, I just think that ultimately, I'm going to try and conclude it here, that life has a right to fulfill itself. And if you don't think you can take care of the child, then give life a chance to take care of itself. Give life a chance. Let the life cycle happen. Ripping the life force out of your womb is just so, I don't even know. I can't even, now that I've had a child, knowing as deeply as I know how conscious a fetus or a embryo is, there's a heartbeat, there's a brain that's forming, there's eyeballs, fingers start to form. It's a conscious entity. Consciousness has come forth, and the life cycle has started. No matter when you disrupt that, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 months that's already a freaking, it's just sad. So obviously my mindset has changed on abortion. I'm not so gung-ho with pro-choice. I think a lot more accountability must happen, and a lot less, using abortion as a birth control method. There are so many people in this world who want a child. So many people. For as many people that don't want a child, there are so many people who cannot have one that desperately want one. And so, to those who would seek abortion as an option, let the baby have a chance to have some life and somebody to love it, I could go round and round and round about this for another 10 minutes, I'm sure, but I'm already hitting 11 minutes. So that's basically my opinion. That's basically how it sits. I'm more on the pro-life wagon, I think, but I ultimately don't think that it should be anybody else's right to mandate whether a woman can or can't, like politically or religiously. And I think that the exceptions should always be weighed in. But I urge people to just try to honor the cycle of life and the force of nature that is life, Okay.